But when we evaluated all of our content, we called it polishing the shield. It was all, it was very like stats focused, just the facts. It was news focused.
Oh, the voice
of our brand.
Your online voice was polishing the shield.
Was polishing the shield.
Oh no!
And it wasn't enough of a two-way dialogue, and so that was our first like real insight. Is like, how do we infuse some more human moments into our streams?
Hello and welcome to Character Count by @TwitterBusiness. I'm your host, @JoeWadlington. We show you the creative ways that standout brands and businesses and people use Twitter to connect and engage with the audiences that matter most to them. Sports Twitter is massive, so I've been eagerly awaiting when we could have a sports franchise come onto Character Count and talk to us about how they connect the games to online experiences. Twitter is also huge in the professional sphere for C-suite level employees who want to promote their personal brand alongside the brand that they work for. So today, I'm so excited to tell you, we have both.
My name is Heidi Browning, and I work for the National Hockey League, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer.
Heidi is going to tell us about the incredible programs that her team is rolling out to reinvigorate old fans and to bring brand new hockey fans into the arena. Heidi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is a fantastic place to have a conversation with you.
Yes, we are recording right in the Mission District in San Francisco, and we're told before we came on about all the music legends that have been in the exact same room we are, so no pressure.
No pressure. I might go get on that drum kit, though.
We may cut an LP after the show. Later in the show, we'll talk to the director of curation at Twitter, Joanna Geary. Her team oversees Twitter Moments, and she's going to talk about how to harness the electricity of Twitter. After that, I will ask you, yes, you, for your hot takes. You've listened to our marketing expertise enough, and I know that you have some to weigh in yourself. But that is all later. This is now. Sit back, relax, and let's hear from Heidi Browning.
When I first joined the league, I had tickets to one of the Rangers games, and I invited a friend, and he couldn't come because his daughter got sick, so he had to go. So I went to the game by myself, and I was sitting in my seat, and it was a really good seat, and I noticed that there were 4 generations of a family sitting in front of me, and they kept looking over their shoulders, and they're like, finally they turn around, they're like, why are you here at a hockey game by yourself? Nobody comes to hockey by themselves. And it was really funny. And so we chatted. I said, it's like my first day of school here at the NHL, and I'm working here. And they were so amazing that we ended up having this great dialogue.
And what happened to how loudly did their jaws hit the floor when they're like, oh, what job do you have at the NHL? And you're like, oh, yeah. I'm the CMO.
Exactly. They invited me to Thanksgiving dinner. I didn't go, but because, I was new to New York. They were that's hockey, right? They were just warm and welcoming and, happy to, be accommodating.
So the NHL is a 100-year-old brand, legacy brand. What are some parts about it that have evolved and what are parts that haven't?
Hockey's team-oriented, and, it's both a beauty and a curse as a marketer because the guys all play for the name on the front of their sweater, not the name on the back. And by definition—
say that again.
They play for the name on the front of their sweater or their jersey, not the name on the back. It is the culture, right? Nobody stands above anyone else. The way you play in a line. So by definition, that's a team. It's not an individual. The challenge is our players aren't as active on social media. One of the things that we've been trying to do is educate on it's not about you as an individual. It's about using social media as a platform to connect with your fans. That's what they want. They want to learn more about you and your life off the ice. It's about
So
a platform.
You train your players on Twitter?
We do. We have we have a rookie orientation program. We train on all social media, the benefit and the value of social media, as well as how to deal with trolls and how to make sure that you keep your mind in the game. And it's important. A lot of people are afraid to talk. That you only want to talk about the wins, in social media. But we talk about the losses are equally important to talk about because let's face it, we all win and lose in life, right? And to be relatable, we have to show that how do you recover from a loss? What do you learn from a loss? How do you pick yourself up and drive yourself to win again the next time? So it's really exciting.
And the fans are talking about that.
Exactly.
The fans are if they care, then they're going through that loss with the player as well. well. And so it would be odd for them that to not be carried through into the players' discussion as well.
Yeah.
What are some tips that you give the athletes going into Twitter training?
First, we try to help them think about who they want to be. What does their brand want to be, right? Do they want to be known for being, extraordinary contributors to community service, right? Do they want to be known for a social cause that's important to them? Do they want to be known for their family off the ice? Do they want to be known only for the amazing skills that they have on the ice? That helps us curate what kind of content to share with them. And the idea is that they have more content at their fingertips. They don't have to think about what to capture. They don't have to think about what to caption. They can just, review, edit, and post.
Explain the makeup of your team.
So we have a chief brand officer, my partner in crime, the heart and soul of the NHL brand. His name is Brian Jennings, and he leads all of the initiatives around branding our events, our uniforms, our merchandising, our partners. It's an incredibly big and robust role, and I'm complementing his skills with a digital background. So my team is in charge of digital, data-driven fan engagement and insights and analytics and social media. And social media has been the biggest challenge. Like when I started, that was the job, was to focus on our social media. And like many organizations, social media was kind of happening in a lot of different pockets of the company and within our rights holders. And so we spent a lot of time thinking about how do you set up the structure. Not only how do you set up the structure, but how do we evolve our voice, where our mission is to attract a younger fan base. And social media is exactly, the opportunity to do that. But when we evaluated all of our content, we called it polishing the shield. It was all, it was very like stats focused, just the facts. It was news focused.
Oh, the voice
of our brand.
Your online voice was polishing the shield.
Was polishing the shield.
Oh, no.
And and it wasn't, enough of a two-way dialogue. And so that was our first real insight, is like, how do we infuse some more human moments into our streams, and how do we capture fun and funny content that complements all those wonderful highlights and stats that the avid fans truly love and admire. So
I'm not surprised to hear that. I spoke at a community managers conference a few months ago, and I was talking about brand voice evolving and saying, when you started a company and they're only using Twitter for their press releases, and there was like laughter all through, more laughter than that comment should ever get in a room, but as community managers, because this idea of a company has things they want their audience to know. And they have a traditional distribution style that they're used to and that feels really safe. And so it's easy to just plug that straight into the comms department and roll out these press releases that are purposefully impenetrable, that then no one can talk about or that no one can dispute. But then when you do that, you also make something no one can talk about or wants to talk about. It's like the fully point, they end in very strict periods.
Exactly.
And so taking away I'm not going to say tarnishing the shield over polishing the shield, but letting it be like sound like the people who actually work on it, or the people who are actually going to be the listening ear of that content, I think is a lot of people's first task.
Yes, and you can't do it quickly, right? You have to slowly evolve it over time, and we did, and we've got an incredible team. I'm so proud of our team.
As an incredible marketer, how much time would you give your team to evolve voice?
I would say we've been slowly doing it over the course of 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. The first year was slower. The second year, I think we've really kind of hit our stride and balance. And then the third year is where we really amplified it with a lot of culturally relevant, original content that was a little outside of the normal hockey content that we would create. Our team is really cool because we've got the challenge of managing the day-to-day, right? Trying to engage our fans and grow our fan base, make sure people are aware of all the stats and information on the players and the games that are that night, but also intertwining it with the human stories, the fan stories, the stories about our players. But we have another team that's our night team, and they get to sit in the Situation Room, which is up in Toronto. It's a room that's filled with screens where we have people that are watching every single game. And when calls are challenged on the ice, that's where all of that happens.
Wow.
But having these, our team there is sort of real-time reporters in the situation room helps give a whole different perspective and an immediacy to our fans when they seek it the most.
So hockey has a 9-month season. But aside from all that downtime, there's also all the games and all these incredible moments that want to be captured. Everyone's tuned in to their TV, and then also they have Twitter on their phone. So what is at NHL's live tweeting strategy?
The teams have a social media team, and the league has our team that's embedded in the situation room. And then we employ now 60 live social contributors. And that's 2 social contributors for each arena. And what they do, each team, they're extensions of both the NHL and the team's social media. And they're there to capture not the highlights on the ice, but a lot of the fan moments around the arena. And we've got quite an elaborate operation to, send that content to a centralized source that we can then share that out with our clubs and our handles and make sure that it meets all of our brand standards, et cetera.
A lot of the impressive programs that Heidi is rolling out have to do with jumping on Twitter in the moment, catching things as they happen and elevating them. So I knew I had to talk to the person at Twitter who understands newsiness and electricity the most.
My name's Joanna Geary. I'm the Director of Curation at Twitter.
So what is a Twitter moment?
$1 million question. A Twitter moment is, at the very essence of it, a collection of tweets that you get to choose and curate and place in the order that you think is most useful. Now, that can have a number of different uses. With our team specifically, and when we're thinking about the Explore tab, we're thinking about how we can choose the right tweets to provide the context and understanding that people need for the biggest conversations that are happening in the day. So, for example, if you looked at a search result on Twitter or a trend, you might see the top results, which might be really funny or very from very popular people, but they might not explain to you what's happened.
Right.
So we use it to uplift some of the more contextual tweets. But it's used in a variety of different ways for storytelling, helping people to capture a particular conversation that they've been having on the platform. We've seen people use it to collect their favorite memes. It's a very versatile product. That can be used in any way you want, but we see it really shine when it's about that storytelling and that context providing.
I agree. It's so nice because tweets are so concise, which is one of their superpowers. And sometimes when you're trying to tell a story, when you want to depict a conversation, there's multiple players in that conversation. So it's nice with a moment where you can have tweets from multiple people, one's with pictures, one with videos, and make a really rich line that is all right there in one place.
Exactly. And certainly we're always thinking of ways of how we can improve following along with the conversation on the platform. But if you have a particular conversation you're proud of or something that you want to show people because you want more people to participate in it, Moments is a good way of capturing that moment, right? And sharing it much wider than you would have been able to otherwise.
Absolutely. They're embeddable. You can share the link with all of it, text it to your mom whenever there's really good tweets that she needs to like.
Absolutely. And mums love it. Everyone on our team has tried to promote Twitter via Moments to mums. There's something about the format that they seem to really like. So get your mum using Twitter with Moments.
I mean, you can't spell moment without mom.
I didn't even know that. We need that as a slogan. You've changed my life today. Thank you.
How could a business use Twitter Moments to tell a more nuanced story?
I think it's about understanding where the people you care about are having conversations and being able to help encapsulate or highlight a moment in that conversation or event that's going on. So we were talking about the idea of being able to share that really amazing exchange that you might have had and show it to other people. Brands are having those incredible conversations all the time on the platform, but then, how do you make sure that other people see that and it's visible and they know that you are you're that sort of approachable brand or person. And I think Moments is a good way to uplift that and to show, hey, this is a conversation that we're a part of that you can join in. I think as well around real world events.
I could easily see businesses making moments about successful customer success moments that they had happen on Twitter and collecting those together, product launches, great things that people are saying about their product, that type of thing. And moments are just a really quick way to collect that story and make that nuance.
Totally. I mean, if you've invested the time in doing a tweet storm, for example, because there's something that you feel your customers need to know about, it's a great way of encapsulating that, as you say, like a small version of a blog post. If you're getting great reactions to something that you've said, again, a great way to save that and use that elsewhere. It is pretty versatile. You can use it as a pitch gallery as well. We've seen people do that if they've been holding an event. It's a place where they can collect like great pictures that have been happening, like been taken as part of it. So there's a variety of different ways to use it. And as you say, it's much, much faster to put something together that way than perhaps like sitting down and having to pen a full blog post.
What is your number one Twitter tip?
Join conversations before you start them.
Tell me more.
I think we have an innate pressure that we feel when we join social platforms. We're like, I have to say something. And we feel that we have to start that conversation. And I think that my social media journey, and I think probably why I was able to be an early adopter, was I had a community that I wanted to have a conversation with. So being able to participate in something that's already beginning to have a groundswell of people contributing, it feels less scary and helps you to understand much more about those people that you want to connect with and how they're having discussions. I think if you think about the real world, it's very rare that you'll walk into a room and start shouting opinions at people. So being able to walk into a room and like hear the conversation, hear what's going on, maybe join ones that you're interested in, you generally find that that's a better way to connect with people. So
be on the internet like a real person.
I would thoroughly recommend that. Yeah.
Thank you, Joanne and Gary, for telling us more about moments at Twitter. And now let's get back to Heidi Browning. What are some new fans that you've found through Twitter?
So I have two stories about this. There's one super fan, Fatou Fierce. She's a Washington Capitals super fan. And I noticed her, she was following me and connecting, and we were engaging, and we started DMing, and she just seemed like a really smart, cool person. And so I surprised her with tickets to a game one day and brought her to a game. I noticed that she, of course I did all my research on her. I noticed that she had met a lot of the Washington Caps before, and she was like a super fan. And we'd never met before in person. And we met at the game. We had a fantastic time. And it was one of those moments that, she'll remember forever. And she's connected me to more fan bases because of that. And then fast forward a season later, we discovered this group called the Black Girls Hockey Club. And the Black Girls Hockey Club were Black women on Twitter who didn't know each other, but discovered each other through Twitter conversations and engagement around hockey. And they formed this, group and this alliance and this bond, and they hadn't met each other. And so we brought them all to a game. And then we brought them into the league.
And all over, I'm sure. They're all over the country.
They're all over. And we brought them into the league for a meeting. And I'll be darned, but who was there but Fatou, who I had taken to a game before and met on Twitter. And now she was part of this larger group of women. And they are our biggest fans out there. They're huge supporters of the game and our storylines. And they're picking up more momentum and more steam and more, fans along the way. And we could not be more thrilled to have them as part of our fandom.
So there are a lot of NHL super fans on Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. There was one super fan. Her name was Stephanie Vale. Her handle was @myregularface. And she created GIFs every night for all of our games, these incredible GIFs so fast. And when I first joined, every night, she was a super fan. But when we first joined, here was this person who was creating GIFs, technically cutting them from NHL.TV, which is, against the rights holder rules. When people violate that kind of content rules, we typically shut them down, right? That's what sports leagues and, content owners do. And when we started to look more closely at Stephanie, we realized that she was getting pickup by all the major media outlets. They were finding her GIFs so fast because she was cutting them faster than we could cut them. And so I DM'd her on Twitter and we connected and we talked with her, and I established quickly that she wasn't out there trying to make money off of our content.
Right.
She was just doing it because she's a super fan and she loves hockey and she's got a really great eye and she's really quick. And so we hired her, and she is our GIF creator. She is behind at NHL GIFs. She does an amazing job, and we could not be more thrilled to have her on board. And she's continued to evolve with going beyond just the in-game highlights. She's cutting GIFs and fueling up our Giphy and fueling our keyboards and our stickers. And, she's evolving her talents as well. So she's a valuable contributor to our team.
That's so incredibly symbiotic, because exactly like you're hinting, that could be the moment where you squash Stephanie, and then there are all these other Stephanies for every other sport and type of thing that are going, and then to encourage them instead is really incredible. Heidi is clearly an expert marketer, but we know a lot of our listeners are as well. So this is the time when I want to ask you, the listener, yes, you, to give us some of your marketing wisdom. So I'm going to present a topic that will be live on @TwitterBusiness, and we would love if you would come in, reply, comment, DM it to your team, and so on, and we will engage and learn from all of the things that you have to say. This episode's topic is, what is the number one metric that you look for in a tweet? Is it impressions, likes, clicks, image expands, retweets? What is it that is the most important to your team? Again, go to Twitter and look up @TwitterBusiness. You should already be following us, but you can do that today if you aren't, and you will find this episode's topic. Give us your hot takes, and we will engage right back. Now, back to the interview.
We launched focus groups. First thing you do as a marketer is get the focus groups going. And we conducted focus groups with Gen Z and millennials, and separate across North America. They were casual hockey fans, but broader sports fans. And it was important to us that we wanted to talk about and learn from them what were their attitudes and perceptions and barriers to watching more hockey. And we learned that they really admire the avid hockey fan base. It is tribal, it is special. That's what I was trying to talk about earlier. It's this family, this really tight-knit, special fan group, like no other fan group out there. But they also simultaneously, as they admire them, they are also a little intimidated by them, and in their own friends that were in that fan base, intimidated because they didn't necessarily understand the rules or the history or the tradition.
Yeah.
And so,
where you feel like you have to know every single thing before you start, but it's impossible to know every single thing before you start.
Exactly. So we took this insight and thought about how do we create a broader cross-cultural connector, and we tapped the one and only Snoop Dogg to help us.
Right. Hockey, Snoop Dogg, of course.
Oh, he's a huge hockey fan.
Really?
He's the biggest hockey fan. Oh, yeah. He's amazing.
Oh, my gosh.
We did a content
idea.
series with him called Hockey 101 with Snoop, Dogg Cherry. And he did an episode on slang, on history, on traditions, on rules. I even learned something from Snoop in the rules. It was incredible as an opportunity for us to really connect through music, through culture, through to new fan bases, and to help them, get up to speed on the rules and the traditions that before they tune into the Stanley Cup playoffs. So we've been running those content pieces for the last couple of seasons. We use it as a ramp up to the playoffs, which are the most exciting playoffs in all of sports.
The old phrase, you only make a first impression once. And I think that's very true for marketing, and especially true for modern marketing as well, as we see all of these growth companies that no one's ever heard of, but then they do that first thing extremely well and go wild on the internet. So what are some other things that you did to make sure the puck drop, the big season opening moment, went super well on Twitter?
So our marketing team, our social media team, and our CRM team, they're awesome. So we collaborate on big ideas and stunts. And one of the stunts that we did for Puck Drop, we had all the teams kind of talk smack about each other, to each other. And then, again, we aligned around a hashtag strategy. We aligned with our broadcast partners and our digital partners so that we were, in lockstep about what we were promoting, when we were promoting, and how we were promoting it. We also had a fun guest appearance on the first game, which was Chance the Rapper. He came back reprising his role from Saturday Night Live as Laszlo Holmes. I don't know if you saw that on Saturday Night Live.
Tell me about it.
Laszlo Holmes the joke was, he was an NBA reporter who was all of a sudden filling in for the hockey reporter and was suddenly thrust into the NHL to cover an NHL game. He didn't know.
He's never been in a hockey rink before.
He'd never been in a hockey rink before. He was cold. He, didn't understand the rules. He was trying to interview players, but the players have foreign names on the back of their jerseys. So the joke was him trying to pronounce these names and trying to understand what hockey was and just being out of his element. And he ended the entire segment with, "Let's do that hockey." And so that became a meme that went viral globally. And it was really fun and exciting. So we brought Chance back as Laszlo Holmes to Let's Do That Hockey as part of our kickoff for the season. And Laszlo Holmes is an important connector for us because we're trying to expand our audiences. We are trying to make sure that multicultural audiences actually know that hockey is for them. And we have a number of multicultural players who are really talented on ice. And we're trying to overcome some stereotypes. Having Laszlo Holmes make a little fun of us is great.
Yeah.
But also, working with Snoop and all the work that we do to bring hockey to underserved communities is also a point of pride for us. We are really trying to expand our base in so many different ways.
Love hearing that. Now we need to see if Heidi can make her characters really count. I'm going to ask her some rapid fire questions and see if she can answer in 280 characters or less. What is your most used emoji?
Peace, love, and hockey. Peace, love, and hockey.
If you owned a restaurant, what would the special be?
Tacos. Do I have to use all 280 characters or is it one word? One word is good.
No. I mean, if you just tweet tacos with no context, that's probably going to be one of your most successful tweets. That's how Twitter works. What is your most evergreen marketing tip?
Always learn from what you do. Every campaign, every idea you execute, they don't all have to be winners. Sometimes you get the greatest insights from campaigns that fail, but if the important part is to always measure and always learn and then optimize.
What's your favorite part of a hockey game?
Being there live, feeling the game.
What's your favorite arena snack?
I eat a lot of chicken tenders.
Is it more or fewer chicken tenders than you ate before you started at the NHL?
1,000,000 times more. I never ate chicken tenders before joining the NHL.
What's one of the most popular mascots for an NHL team?
Well, it has to be Gritty. Gritty broke the internet.
Gritty did break the internet. We actually had Gritty brought up on a previous Character Count episode with Simon Books, Simon and Schuster.
Nice. Yeah. Gritty is fantastic as a mascot. He really knows how to use social media and real world, engagement with people. And we love all of our mascots equally, just like we love all of our children. But Gritty's really set a new bar for the mascots.
What's one of your favorite hashtags to follow?
Let's do that hockey.
Describe your team in one word.
Curious. And I would say that's sort of a evergreen tip for marketers, in addition to measuring and learning. I think that really maintaining curiosity is such an important part of your role. That's how we're always here to learn, right? Everything, you don't have to know every answer to every question, but you have to be curious. And that's one of the things I think that drives me and our organization.
What is your top Twitter tip?
Participate. You got to get in the game, you got to lean in and participate.
And what is your top life tip?
Just staying positive. I believe in the power of positivity. It motivates myself and everyone around you, whether they're your friends, your coworkers, or strangers.
Participate and stay positive. Heidi Browning, Chief Marketing Officer of the NHL, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
You can find us at business.twitter.com/character count. Character Count is a production of Pod People for @TwitterBusiness. This episode was hosted by me, @JoeWadlington. Our executive producer is Rachel King. This episode was produced by Eliza Lambert. It was also produced and edited by Christopher Mawson. Music by Annalise Nelson and Dax Schaefer. Special thanks to Marissa Window and Lindsay Bruce and the entire Twitter customer success team. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. And rate us, ideally 5 stars, but I'm not going to DM you about it. This episode's question is now live at Twitter Business. Go tweet us your hot takes and follow us for incredible tips on Twitter ads marketing and best practices, or follow me, @JoeWadlington, for tweets about what the youth are up to. Have a great day.